Welcome to today's lesson, which is taken from your reading and writing book 2, Unit 6, pages 131 and 132. And the grammar item we're going to discuss today is the infinitives of purpose. The infinitives of purpose. An infinitive is when we add to plus the base form in a sentence. So for example, when we say, I want to study is an infinitive. I must eat, so I want to go to the restaurant. To go is an infinitive. However, in today's lesson, we will focus on infinitives of purpose. Infinitives of purpose. Infinitives of purpose essentially answer the question why. Why does the main verb occur and happen? So for example, here we have, follow these steps to use an ATM. Why do we follow these steps? The answer is to use an ATM. So to use is an infinitive of purpose. Likewise, push the button to send your order. Why do we push the button? To send the order. So to send is therefore an infinitive of purpose. Again, we have the manager lowered prices to increase sales. Why were the prices lowered, we ask? The answer is to increase sales. So to increase is therefore an infinitive of purpose. As you can see from the 3 examples mentioned here, the main verb is mentioned first, and then the infinitive of purpose is mentioned afterwards. This can be reversed. For example, to use an ATM, follow these steps. So we have mentioned the infinitive of purpose first. And then secondly, we've mentioned the main verb. And we must place a comma after the first clause to use an ATM. One thing that we must remember when dealing with infinitives is that not all infinitives are infinitives of purpose. And how do we know when an infinitive is an infinitive of purpose? We know this by A, asking the question why. Does it answer the question why? If the infinitive answers the question why, then it is an infinitive of purpose. And secondly, we place in order to in the sentence. So for example, here we have, he called me to apologize. Is to apologize an infinitive of purpose? Let's place in order to in the sentence. He called me in order to apologize. The meaning remains the same. The sentence is still accurate. So therefore, to apologize is indeed an infinitive of purpose. Now we have another situation, and that is when it is an infinitive, but not of purpose. For example, we have the sentence here, he called me and said that he wanted to apologize. This is, with no doubt, an infinitive because it has to plus base form. However, when we add in order to, we find there's a change. Let's read. He called me and said that he wanted in order to apologize. The meaning is not the same, and sentence is now inaccurate. It is not correct. So therefore, to apologize is an infinitive, but it's not an infinitive of purpose. Now let's go to page 132, where we have two exercises. The first exercise question is circle each infinitive of purpose in the paragraph. Remember, not every infinitive shows purpose. So we have to scan and look for the infinitives in this paragraph and make sure that these infinitives are infinitives of purpose. We have the first one done for us here. The sentence reads, I started a blog last year to share my experience as a first-year university student in Jeddah. To share is an infinitive of purpose because it answers the question why I started the blog. And it also is a sentence where we can add in order to, and the meaning remains the same. Shall we try it? Okay, let's go. I started a blog last year in order to share my experience as a first-year university student in Jeddah. In order to has been mentioned and placed in the sentence, and the meaning remains the same, and the sentence is correct. So to share is an infinitive of purpose. Let's look at the second sentence after it. And that is, it was very easy to do, to the end of the sentence. Easy to do. To do. Is it an infinitive? Yes, it is an infinitive because it has to plus base form or the dictionary form. But is it of purpose? No, it is not an infinitive of purpose because it does not answer the question why, and we cannot add in order to in the sentence. Let's look for some more. Okay, we have one here. Use photos to add visual interest to your page. To add. It's an infinitive, no doubt, because it has to plus add, which is a base form verb. To add is an infinitive. But does it have the meaning in which an answer to the question why the verb occurred is clear? Let's have a look. Why do we use photos? The answer is to add. So yes, it does clearly answer the question. So therefore, to add is an infinitive of purpose. So we will draw a circle around to add. There we are. Because it is an infinitive of purpose. Please scan the rest of this paragraph and look for the infinitives of purpose, circling the correct infinitives. Let's move on to B. The question reads, answer these questions using infinitives of purpose. So we have 4 questions here. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have to answer these questions using infinitives of purpose. So number 1 and number 2 has been done for you. Number 1 reads, why do you use the internet? Why? It's a question, so we need an answer, and that answer has to be an infinitive of purpose. So we wrote, I use the internet to study. To study is an infinitive of purpose because it answers the question why I use the internet. The second question is, What is another kind of technology that you use? Why do you use it? So I've selected the cell phone as my other technology, and I wrote, I use a cell phone to speak to my friends. So I use a cell phone. Why do I use the cell phone, this kind of technology? I use it to speak to my friends. To speak. This is an infinitive of purpose. Please write your own answers for number 1 and your own answer for number 2, and complete 3 and 4. And write a few sentences to practice. After that, go online to your LMS and practice the activities for your infinitives of purpose. Thank you very much for listening to me today. Goodbye.